Tonight, I have joining me right here in our studio here in Abuja, Mr. Femi Kayode, who is the spokesperson, one of the spokespersons of the APC Presidential Campaign Organization. In fact, he's the director in charge of public engagement and special duties for the PCC. Thank you so much, Chief Fani Kayode, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let me allow you to listen to some of these sound bites that are coming. First is that of Governor Nasir El-Rufai. I'd like you to listen. Perhaps you watched it, but take a listen to what he said earlier today.
Sure.
I believe that there are elements in the villa that want us to lose the elections because they didn't get their way. They had their candidate. Their candidate didn't win the primaries. And I think they are still trying to get us to lose the elections. And they are hiding behind the president's desire to do what he thinks is right. I'll give two examples. This petroleum subsidy, which is costing the country trillions of naira, was something that we all agreed will be removed. In fact, I had a discussion with the president and showed him why it had to go, because how can you have a capital budget of 200 billion for federal roads and then spend 2 trillion on subsidy? This was a conversation I had with the president in 2021 when the subsidy thing started rising. He was convinced. We left.
All right. That's Governor Nasir El-Rufai earlier today. Well, let me get your thought on this. I mean, we've asked the question. For those, you are one of those who are tweeted also that there are elements within your party. Who are these people?
Well, first of all, let me say that I'm on all fours with what Governor Nasir El-Rufai has said. It's very obvious to me that a few people within our own ranks are not too comfortable with the emergence of our candidate and are clearly working against us. Now, let me tell you what that doesn't mean. That does not mean that the president himself is working against the candidate. That's out of it. I don't think anybody has said that or is suggesting that. However, like in any organization, any institution, there are a few people within that place that, for reasons best known to themselves, are clearly trying their very best to engineer policy in a way that will affect the fortunes of our candidates and of our party. And I think that's probably what Nasir El-Rufai was trying to say. Some of them are in the villa, others are heading institutions that are under the government, that were never part of PDP anyway, and that's always the problem. When you have a technocrat, where you really don't know where his heart lies, running major institutions, for example, like Central Bank and so on and so forth. My own view, and I've said this for quite some time, that there is some kind of conspiracy going on. You see, the problem is this: they know that when we go to the field later on this month, Asiwaju is going to win this election hands down. We have 22 governors with us, all solidly with us. We have 5 that are likely to support us in the presidential election, making 28. They only have 8. And of course, the third party and the fourth party have absolutely nothing. So we're very confident as we go into the field, and our candidate is making waves everywhere. So the only way he can be stopped now is through the activities of blacklegs, turncoats, backstabbers, and liars, and people that want to undermine from all over the place, create policies that are clearly unacceptable for this time, clearly uncomfortable with the people, and will cause resentment in the land for everybody, not just against the ruling party, but against virtually every politician. And I think there's another agenda in that as well, which I'll come to later.
So let's clarify this, because when you ask the question about this, you might, is it right to call them fifth columnist?
Yes, certainly.
I mean, the question is, are they members of your party?
It is not every person that is working in the villa that is a member of the APC. I've been in government before. They may be, they may not be. And I, can assure you that even if they are, they have their own inclinations, they have their own motivations,
what
they have
what
their
is
own
their
reasons.
Agenda?
Well, perhaps you should put it to them. But what I'm trying to tell you is
because we're speaking to you,
their agenda is certainly not to do the best for Nigeria, to do the best for the APC, to do the best for President Buhari, or to do the best for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That is their agenda. Now, it could be a number of issues. Maybe, for example, Nasir cited one example of some of them felt that their candidate didn't emerge during the presidential primaries. That's possible. There are others that simply have a situation whereby they just don't want Asiwaju to be president. There are some people like that. It's a personal choice that people make. And when you're in a position of power, only God knows your heart. Only God knows what you're thinking. You know, just like Shakespeare said, it's a very difficult thing to know, it's a difficult thing to see the mind's construction in the face. You don't know what people think. Well, what you do know is this. If you're in government or if you're in a party together, there ought to be a collective interest. 95 to 99% of the APC are one family moving in one direction, solidly behind one candidate, praying and hoping that he will win. And we are working extremely hard. Some of us sleep, just a few hours a night. 18 hours a day we work now. I've just come back from Lagos after 6 days of resting because we work very hard. Festus Kayamo, Dele Alake, Bayo Ononuga, all of us, and in all the other directorates, we work extremely hard. And our candidate is out there in the field, going all over the country every day with governors and all kinds of people moving with him. So all these distractions for us is very disturbing because we are working and people are plotting night and day in order to create obstacles in our path to ensure this transition does not go smoothly.
What is the end goal of these people? Are they working for another candidate?
Well, this, like I said, I guess it varies. My own view, and this is just my view, is that some are, but I don't see how that's going to go very well, given the fact that the opposition are really so weak when it comes to, you know, what's going on the ground.
Which candidate could they have been working for?
I'm saying that some of them may be working for those that I consider to be very weak, like Atiku. I don't think he's a strong candidate, like I've said before. But I don't even think that's the major issue. My own view is that there is an attempt, in my view, and this is just my personal opinion, to create chaos in this country for everybody and to pave the way for something completely different. This is what I see going on. And I must tell you that I find questionable the policies of the governor of the central bank as at today. I don't question the policy itself, I question the timing of the policy. People are suffering, people are going through hell, people can hardly achieve anything. And I knew as far back as Christmas that this is what they were going to do. Let me put this to you. How would you feel, for example, if in a week's time, people still can't get cash from the banks? What effect do you think that will have on the people of this country? How do you think it will make them feel? Those in the rural areas and so on and so forth. Yes, it's a policy. We need a policy, a cashless policy, ultimately. But why is it being introduced at this critical time? It will lead to nothing but suffering, resentment, hatred of not just the ruling party. And this is why those on the other side don't get it, but of every single member of the ruling class. And you're trying to provoke an uprising in this country to ensure that everything scatters and this transition does not go anywhere. That's what I think is going on. And I'm sitting on your program today pointedly accusing the governor of central bank of having a hidden agenda. I've never known of a governor of central bank that will be outside the country, challenge the security agencies, come back, ready to be arrested, and he's being guarded by soldiers. Who posted the soldiers there, and how come he has that kind of power? I've never known a governor of central bank who was summoned to come to the House of Reps how many times until the time, and he refused to go until the time they threatened him with arrest, and he quickly went there and made a few concessions and said, okay, I'll postpone for a few days, I'll postpone to the 17th. Even with that postponement, it doesn't mean anything. Nigerians are suffering. They're suffering today, and they will continue to suffer throughout this month. And I say it again, mark my words, it will be very difficult for people to get new notes until after the election because there's a hidden agenda as far as I'm concerned. They'll tell you, oh, the commercial banks are not releasing notes. It's not it's a lie. The truth of the matter is that they will not release those notes to the commercial banks because there's a hidden agenda. And there's so much more to this. That's just one front. There are other fronts in which they're fighting democracy and fighting us all. And as far as I'm concerned, this is not for any political party. It is simply for those that are interested in having an ING in this country and pushing us all to one side. And that, I think, is the greater enemy. Our enemies are not the Atiku. The enemies are those that don't want democracy.
Yeah, is there a reason why some of the complaints, especially by the political elites, are coming from your party?
Complaints about what?
About the CBN policy.
Well, maybe because we're a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more discerning. Because let me tell you this, any politician, or indeed any human being that does not have empathy for what people are going through. You've seen what's going on at the banks even today. You've seen people fighting ATM machines. You've seen a situation where overnight somebody will say you can only get 5,000 naira from your ATM card. Go to the rural areas, how people are starting. We get calls all the time. There's no money. Markets are closing.
Other than that, I mean, is this reason for the part? So I'd like to show you.
What I'm trying to tell you is that you don't have to be an APC member to sympathize with somebody that's going through that nightmare and that hell. It's hell for these people.
The opposition think that there is an ulterior motive.
The opposition have their own ways
and
of
so
thinking.
this, I mean, what their thoughts are that there's a reason why members of your party or leaders in your party voiced out as soon as the SCBN says is mopping out the old notes out of circulation, because part of the plans of the CBN is to curb the issue of vote buying.
Oh, really? And well, first of all, we don't do that, and we don't need to do that. We never needed to do that. But they don't buy votes as well. If that's the issue, we have no problem. We have no problem if that was all there was to it. But it's the consequences of this ridiculous policy at this time you have to think about. It's not about who will win in this election now.
Just a moment, Chief Fani. I'd like you to respond to this statement coming from the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, who in the headline to the statement released today, he said that he was telling the governor of the CBN not to succumb to blackmail. And I read some portions of the statement. He says that the anti-democratic elements who are pretending to be Democrats are the ones ganging up against the CBN because of the currency redesign and the cashless regime it seeks to enthrone.
Okay. Fine.
That's portion of the statement coming from Atiku Abubakar.
May I respond to that?
Absolutely.
Let me tell you what I have to say about that. Nobody in the history of Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, has indulged in vote buying and more corruption when it comes to this kind of thing than Atiku Abubakar at every election he's ever run. That's number one. Number two, the reason he's saying that, and I'll tell you this for free on national TV, is because they know what they're planning to do themselves. They know about the special app that they have. They know about the number of people on that app that they've already collated, so they can be sending credit to them on the app. So when they don't have cash, they'll say, well, Atiku is sending you 10,000 naira throughout the election period. They have a plan for this. They know what they want to do. And what we are saying is this: they should stop pretending not to be the biggest cheats and liars and thieves in the history of Nigeria. They are not the people to moralize about this. We are not talking about issue of votes now. We're talking about the suffering of the people, what people are going through, the pain they're feeling, and the insensitivity of the CBN governor and the insensitivity of Atiku and his party and all those around him. For him to say that nobody should succumb to blackmail. Is it because his own children will have food throughout this month, whether there's cash in the streets or not? Go to the rural areas. Go to the poor places. In some parts of this country, there are no banks. There's nothing there. Most of Nigerian people do not have bank accounts. Are they supposed to open one overnight? Highly insensitive comment to make. So people should suffer simply because you have an app, and that app you're going to be sending people money and say, hey, have credit. You can cash the money later. Their plan, and they're working with CBN, is to ensure that no money comes out at all in this country up until the end of March, up until the end of February. That's their plan. But you know something? Whether they do it or they do not do it, APC will win. Ashiwaju will win, not just win, will win hands down, and will flog them and defeat them to the cleaners. Be rest assured of that.
I mean, this we're hearing about the loss of trust and faith in the from the northern elites or the northern voting bloc.
Who told you that?
I mean, when I ask you questions, you know that I.
Sure.
I mean.
Okay, but yes.
The question is, what about that? I mean, what has become the fate of your candidate?
Let me tell you this. I'm sorry to say this to you. It is a lie from the pit of hell. Anybody that tells you that the northern ruling class or whatever you call them are against Ashiwaju completely has misled you. Look, let's go back to it. I am telling you today that the overwhelming majority of governors in this country, predominantly from the north, every single APC governor from the north is solidly with Ashiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There may be some northern elites that are against him, just as there are some northern elites that are against Atiku Abubakar, that have sworn they'll never allow him to win. And there are some southern elites against Abubakar as well, and some southern elites against Ashiwaju. The point is, let's forget north-south now. Let's go to the field as one nation. We have support of the 22 governors plus 25. We have the support of the people. The only way they can try to defeat us is by derailing us, by putting all these crazy contraptions in the pathway. If it's not fuel queues, if it's not get rid of the cash so that everybody's upset with the APC government, if it's not that, one thing or the other, all these little games, that's what they're trying to do, because they know that in a free and fair fight, they can't win. But I put it to you again, whether or not they put all these obstacles in our path, we are going to win this election hands down. You know why? Because our time has come. Asiwaju's time has come and nothing can stop it.
So let me ask you, the campaign of your candidate,
yes,
it does look like recently he's been attacking the policies of the APC government. And in Ogun State, he said a few things about the policy, the issue of fuel queues that we're seeing, the CBN policies and the state of the economy.
Yes.
And the campaign council had come out after that to say, no, that is not what the candidate meant. But he doubled down on that in Akwa Ibom and said that he attacked the policies of the government of the day, saying, how did they meet how much was the dollar exchange rate when they came into office and how much is it now?
You see,
saying, just a moment, saying that there are confusions in the handling of the Naira and the state of the economy.
Okay.
The government of the APC is in power over the last 7 or 8 years. The question is, this discordant tune coming from within your party, can you tell Nigerians the truth tonight? Because just a moment, this is no spin zone.
Right.
This is the moment where Nigerians need the truth. What is going on when the candidate of your party is attacking the policy of your party?
Let me put this to you in a very simple way, okay? There is no government that is in power, whether it's your party or somebody else's party, that is infallible, that is perfect. Every government makes good choices and makes bad choices, some more than others. This particular government, in my view, has made a lot of good decisions and has done a lot of good things. But that does not make them infallible. And the suggestion that nothing should be criticized or nothing should be looked at once again or perhaps rejigged or so on and so forth does not make sense in politics. In any transition process, in any situation where one party is about to transit with a different candidate, there are bound to be changes. Ours is one commitment, that is to build on the foundation, the great foundation that President Muhammadu Buhari has built. We're not going to criticize that foundation. And if any criticism was made inadvertently, that is regrettable. But we must build on that foundation. But for you to think that people will come up and say everything has been perfect simply because we're in the same party, I think, and I'm speaking for myself now, I think that that would be most incredulous and absurd. Of course there are challenges in this country. Of course we have issues. Of course we haven't done 100%. But nobody asked us for 100%. So at least this government, in my view, has done at least 75, 80%. It's for this new administration that's coming in, on the back of this government, to build on that and right the little that we got wrong. And there's nothing wrong with saying that.
Is your candidate campaigning on the achievement of the Buhari administration?
The candidate is certainly standing on many of those noble achievements, infrastructural development and so on and so forth, and so many other wonderful things that the president has done, the government has done. Sure, very proud of that. But there are other areas in which we can still improve and and we shouldn't shy away from saying that.
And so I'm asking the question again, Chief Fani Kayode.
Yes.
And I dare say again that this is no spin zone. This is where Nigerians...
You know I don't spin.
No, because it's in the nature of politicians.
I'm one of those that's too blunt to be a real politician. You know that. So I don't spin.
The question here is that you will defend your party, you will defend your candidate, and, well, you are telling Nigerians the reason why they should vote for your candidate.
Absolutely.
But the question is that in the process of doing that, you might say very good things about your party. The question is the worry that your candidate continuously speak against the works and the activities of your government.
Well, I contest that.
What do you think is going on?
99% of the time, our candidate speaks well of this administration, eulogizes our president, confirms the fact that he's built a magnificent foundation, which he has, and is committed to building on that foundation. Where changes have to be made, and this is the difference here, we're not in 2019 now. We're in 2023. He will not shy away, and I certainly wouldn't expect him to shy away from telling you or our other nation, listen, we've done well, but this is where I do things rather differently. That is what being a presidential candidate is all about. The incoming administration will be a Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. It will not be a Muhammadu Buhari administration, but it will be an Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. And the Nigerian people have a right to know that some of the things he's going to do is remove the oil subsidy. He's going to ensure that we have credits for everybody in this country to be able to go to school and so on and so forth, credit for education and so on and so forth, and for business. He's going to ensure that so many things are different, so many things are built upon on the legacy and on the foundation of Buhari. That does not translate to criticism. That translates into continuity with improvement, and that's what he's trying to say.
I don't know why that doesn't sit well, because I'm talking about what you're saying does not align in totally with what your candidate's saying. If you're saying that he's building on it, but the question is that it directly attacked the performance of this government. So what do you then tell Nigerians?
He directly attacked the performance
just
of this
moment,
government. Yes.
Tinubu will be, his face will be directly on the logo of your party, the APC,
Yes.
on the ballot. Right. That means you are preaching the APC to the voters. Now, Tinubu has
just I know you normally ask the question, but let me just ask you this question.
Let me land on. If I land on my question,
is evidently wrong.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to
So Nigerians should know that there are failures in this government.
Listen, this government or any other government, even Obasanjo's government, was never infallible. You want me to put it like this? Everything President Buhari has ever done has been fantastic and wonderful. Then you know I'm lying. Simply because we know there are issues here and there for every government. But the majority of things he has done have been wonderful. He has done exceptionally well. Now, the things that have not gone so well, are we to say that everything is okay? Would you vote for us if we said that? Listen, this game is about truth. This game is about reality. And this game is about saying, listen, this is our record, take it or leave it. Where we got it wrong, we will improve on it. Where we didn't get it wrong, we'll continue to build on it.
And so you're telling Nigerians that your party has failed, but they should still vote your party?
I'm telling you, not that they have failed. I'm telling you that they are not fallible. They're not infallible. There's a big difference. In other words, mistakes can be made here and there. President Buhari is a human being, and he has not failed. He has done exceptionally well. But where things can be improved on, what would you
refer to as
we
mistakes?
will improve on it.
Fani Kayode, what would you refer to as?
Well, you tell me. You made reference.
No, is your candidate?
You made reference to certain things that our candidates said.
Your candidate had talked about the fear queues. Is that a mistake? For over 8 months, people have been queued.
Let me take you up on that one. In my view, you must understand that these are artificially created problems for the president. It's not the president that is responsible for that. There are technocrats and people working under him that are mismanaging the situation, just like central bank. It's not the president's fault. He's being presented with a picture. This is the right thing to do. This is what we must do, sir. You say, okay, I approve it.
And we want Nigerians to believe that.
But that's a fact. That's the way government works. I've been in government. Okay? Now, the consequences of that are self-evident. When it doesn't go well, policy changes, like it did the other day. This same Emefiele was telling us all just a few days ago that he would never change the date. The deadline is set. But people got to him when they saw the implications was, okay, I'll now extend it to the 17th. That is how government works. So I do expect people to believe that. You know why? Because it's the truth. That is life. That is government.
Let's take a breather, Chief Fani Kayode. Right. Governor Nasir El-Rufai did point it out that early in the morning on China's television that some of these actions are possible, that can raise possible anger of the people against your government, and that is detrimental to the chances of your candidate Bola Tinubu at the election. We'll look at that. The anger of Nigerians, is it growing? What about the temperature of Nigerians when they come to the price of food, the commodities in the market, the few queues that are experienced, the queues that are experiencing at the ATM, and all of that? How will it affect the candidate's choice? We'll talk about that in our final moment with you on the program. The 2023 verdict continues in a moment. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone. This is the 2023 verdict right here on Channels Television, your elections watch for the nation. Chief Femi Fani Kayode has been my guest on the program tonight, and this is our closing moment with him. So I was going to ask you, in preparation for your response, about the question that the poser Governor El-Rufai gave to say some of these economic woes that we are experiencing and that there are saboteurs who are engineering these to cause anger in the people. Do you think that the anger is already there?
Well, definitely there will be anger if this continues. And there is anger there. But the question is this: who will it affect? It will affect not just us, it will affect the whole political class. That's number one. Number two, the reason these people are doing these things, manipulating all these things and creating all these problems at this stage in an election month, is simply to enrage the people, not just against the ruling party, but in my view, against the whole political class. There's far more to this than meets the eye. But let me tell you this, end with this. No matter what they do, no matter what they say, come rain, come shine, we will get through this. The APC will win, Asiwaju will be the elected president, and we shall prevail.
The presidency said that the president will campaign with and for Bola Tinubu in 10 states.
Yes.
How many of the states has he done?
I'm not sure the number he's been, but he's been in a number of states when he's in the country. I think he couldn't do a couple because he wasn't around, but he's been in a number of states. He's solidly with us. Listen, let's just clear this once and for all. Buhari and Asiwaju Tinubu are one. We are in this together from beginning to end. As an individual and as a government, the party and the government are one with Asiwaju, and we're moving forward together. There may be a few silly little individuals here and there trying to create problems for us. There may be a few technocrats within government agencies who are not even APC members.
Who are these people?
Trying to undermine us.
Is it difficult to mention their names?
I've already accused one person on your program today of being somebody that I would not trust with a barge pole, and that is the governor of Central Bank, because I question his motives for coming up with this policy as at now. He may do it later, but why now? But apart from him,
when you say within the presidency, because Governor El-Rufai was very specific.
Yes.
That those who are around in the villa,
okay, you're
not
talking
outside
about
the
those
villa.
within the villa.
Who are those in the villa?
I also happen to have identified one or two people, just a very small handful, but I'm not prepared to say
who are
now.
those people.
No, rather it is the president that will hear who they are from those from us that have access to him, and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But let me tell you, they're inconsequential. Small group of people, they are not going anywhere, they're not stopping anything. Whoever they're working for.
Why is it causing some kind of panic within your party?
There's absolutely no panic. We simply brought it to the attention of the public. We've known this for a long time. Listen, I've told you, since last Christmas, I knew this was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen. And we take it in our stride. It's nothing. Listen, as long as our generals in the field, our governors are with us, as long as the elites throughout the country and the masses are with us, the market women, the ordinary people are with us, as long as they're with us, what does it matter what a few intellectuals and a few technocrats within the villa or within the banking institutions or within the financial sector or the economic sector try to manipulate, to create a crisis, to deny the people of their will. Listen, it will never happen. We've seen it before in this country where the will of the people was denied, mandates were annulled, and elections were cancelled, and INGs were brought in, or things were rigged in a way that everything went in a different way. It's not going to happen this time round. And if they try it and push it too far, we will resist them with every force of the law.
Should your candidate lose, who would you blame it on?
Our candidate will not lose.
I mean, this is a game of win or lose.
If he loses fairly and squarely, why would we blame it on anybody? The choice must be made by the Nigerian people. But as things stand now, I don't see how somebody that has 28 governors, 22 of them openly, and the rest of the 5 behind him covertly, I don't see how he's going to lose against a man that has only 8 governors behind him. No matter how deluded that man might think he is, or how crazy he thinks he is. Listen, I want to end with this, and this is very, very important. I heard somebody on the BBC ask Atiku Abubakar the question, was that your voice on that tape the other day? He could not say no. I'm going back to the Atiku Gate. He could not say no. He said, let's move on and talk about something else. That's the kind of man you think Nigerians are going to elect to be their next president, but that's their choice. As far as I'm concerned, the train moves on. Asiwaju is moving. He's moving strong. He's moving with Buhari. He's moving with the APC. He's moving the overwhelming majority of people within the villa and the government, and we are with him till the end.
Chief Femi Kayode, the Director of Special Projects and Public Duties with the APC Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you so much indeed for coming.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Shalom.